All right, welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into something kind of unexpected.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going into the world of kid influencers,
okay.
specifically Ryan's world.
Ah, Ryan's
Do you
World.
remember that YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Ray? The one with the little boy, he's reviewing toys and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it turns out there's a lot more to this than you might think.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So we've got this YouTube video essay we're looking at. It really breaks down some of the predictions that PewDiePie made.
PewDiePie.
Yeah, another huge YouTuber. He actually had some thoughts on Ryan's World way back when.
Interesting.
And to be honest, some of his predictions are like spot on. It's kind of wild.
Wow. So what's the big deal with Ryan's World then? I mean, it's just a kid playing with toys, right?
Oh no, not anymore. Not even close. It's a full-on empire now.
Empire, come on.
I'm serious. We're talking multiple channels, billions of views, merchandise. They got mobile game. It's massive.
Wow, that's something else.
And there are over 30 employees that, rely on this whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a huge business, but the essay we're looking at, it makes you wonder at what cost, you know?
I see what you mean.
Exactly. Like, it's not just a family, shooting some home videos for fun anymore. This is serious business built around a single child.
Yeah,
And that brings up a whole bunch of questions.
it does. And what's really interesting is how PewDiePie's whole take on this has, changed over time.
Oh, how so?
Well, initially, back in 2017, he was kind of just joking about it, lighthearted stuff. But then he started noticing things, things that made him question what was actually going on behind the scenes,
What kind of things?
like how often Ryan's mom would interrupt him in the videos. There's actually this one clip where,
Yeah, play that. Let's hear it.
okay, so here's the clip.
Wow, I mean, you can just feel the awkwardness, even through the screen. He's like a little kid trying to talk, and she just jumps in.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what it's really like when they're not filming.
Right. And that's exactly the kind of stuff that PewDiePie started picking up on.
Yeah.
Like these little hints that maybe everything wasn't as, happy and perfect as it seemed. And it leads to a bigger question, about the parents' role in all this.
Yeah.
Like, is this supportive parenting or is it exploitation? Where's the line?
That's a tough one, especially when you think about the money involved.
Exactly.
I mean, millions, right? I've heard Ryan's World is worth millions.
It is. And that's not even counting the potential long-term impact on Ryan. As he gets older, he's less and less the focus of his own brand.
You're right. It's like he's being phased out.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is something else PewDiePie actually predicted, that Ryan's World would outlive Ryan himself.
Oh, wow.
And there's this clip from a podcast where Ryan's parents actually talk about their plans for the channel's future.
Let's hear it.
All right, here it is.
So they're basically saying Ryan's World will keep going, even if Ryan's not in the videos anymore.
Yeah, they're thinking about bringing in other kids.
Wow.
Or even switching to animation entirely.
It's like what PewDiePie said. The brand is designed to exist without Ryan.
Makes you wonder, like, does Ryan even have a say in this?
Right. Like, does he want to do this forever? What happens when he grows up and has different interests?
Exactly. We just assume this is all happening with his consent, but he's a kid, Can he really understand what all this means?
Yeah. Especially with so much money and pressure.
And then, there's the whole question of the channel's authenticity. PewDiePie brought that up, too. Like, he noticed some weird stuff with the view-to-like ratio on the videos, made him think maybe things weren't as, organic as they seemed.
Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, every YouTube video has a certain number of views and a certain number of likes, right?
Right.
And the ratio between those two numbers, sometimes it can show if the engagement is real or if something's off.
Off how?
Like, there are these things called view bots.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, computer programs that artificially inflate the number of views.
So someone could be using those to make Ryan's videos look more popular than they really are.
Exactly. And while there's no proof that Ryan's World has ever done that, it still raises a flag,
Yeah, totally. It's hard to know what's real online sometimes.
Right. It all adds to this feeling that maybe there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we see.
It's unsettling, especially considering how young Ryan is and how much influence he has on other kids.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole issue of sponsorships, just tons of them all over Ryan's videos.
Oh, yeah, I remember PewDiePie had something to say about that, too.
He did. There's this one clip where Ryan is super excited about these Walmart exclusive toys.
Oh, man, I want to hear this.
Okay, here we go.
He's got a point. I mean, really, why would a kid care that much about where a toy's sold? It just feels so forced.
Right. And that brings us back to the exploitation thing. Is it really about entertaining kids? Or is it about selling them stuff?
Exactly.
Hard to believe a channel with that many sponsorships is truly putting the kids' best interests first.
Yeah, and that leads to the biggest question of all.
Which is?
How does Ryan actually feel about any of this?
Right. We know he wants to be an animator.
But is he, like, trapped in this role he didn't choose? Is he happy?
It's impossible to know for sure.
It makes you think, though, right? What's our responsibility as viewers? Are we supporting something that might be ethically wrong, even if it seems harmless?
Wow, that's a lot to think about. This whole conversation has really changed my perspective on Ryan's world.
I think that's the point, isn't it? To start questioning what we see online and understand that there are layers to everything.
Definitely. And this is just the start of our deep dive. There's so much more to unpack. You know, thinking about Ryan's world, it really gets you thinking about all those kid influencers out there.
Yeah, it's huge now, right? It's like exploded in the last few years. And it's also new, you know?
It is. It's like we've always had child actors and stuff, but this whole internet thing, social media, it's changed everything.
Totally. It's like the Wild West out there. You get these kids with millions of followers making tons of money.
And almost no rules to protect them.
Exactly. And that's where things get, kind of ethically tricky. We're basically talking about child labor, but online,
Yeah.
and no one really knows where the lines are.
It's like those old child labor laws just haven't caught up with, like, how people make content now.
That's it. And people are trying to figure out what to do about it. Some want stricter rules specifically for kid influencers. Others think it's more about, like, the platforms taking responsibility.
What do you mean platform responsibility?
Like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones giving these kids a stage, letting them get famous and all that. So some people say they got to make sure these kids are safe too.
But how can they? I mean, there's millions of channels, millions of videos. How do you monitor all that for, like, exploitation?
It's a tough one, logistically, yeah. But there's tech that can help.
Like what?
AI, artificial intelligence. They use it to moderate content already, like flagging copyright stuff.
Oh, yeah, right.
Same idea here. It can spot videos with way too many ads or kids in, like, unsafe situations.
Makes sense.
And the platforms could be stricter about checking ages, too. So kids aren't lying to get accounts and, getting exposed to stuff they shouldn't.
Yeah, tons of kids are probably doing that.
Totally. But tech isn't enough. We need education, too, for parents and for the kids themselves.
What would that look like for the parents?
Well, they got to know the risks of this whole child stardom thing, like how to protect their kids' privacy, set limits, put their well-being before the money.
It's got to be tempting, though, with all that cash coming in.
Oh, yeah. But the kid comes first. Always. And the kids, they need to learn, too, like what their rights are, how to say no if something feels wrong.
So they know they have a voice, basically.
Exactly. And that there's help out there if they're being taken advantage of.
Sounds like a lot of work to make this whole kid influencer thing safer.
It is. But the good news is, at least people are talking about it now. More and more folks are realizing there's a dark side to all this. And there's a whole movement now to protect these young creators.
That's good. It's cool that people like PewDiePie are using their platform to, bring attention to this stuff.
It is. And the more people speak up, the better chance we have of changing things for the better.
Makes sense. This whole conversation has got me thinking, though, what can I do as a viewer? Like, how do I know I'm not supporting channels that are, exploiting kids?
That's a really good question. And it's something we should all be asking ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to just watch these videos and not think too deeply about it, but we got to be more aware, especially when kids are involved.
Yeah, it's about being, like, a smarter viewer, a more aware viewer. I know it's easy to just kind of zone out and watch,
Yeah.
Without really thinking about what's going on behind the scenes.
Sure.
But we got to be more critical, especially with these channels that have kids in them.
I get that. But how? Where do you even start? What are we supposed to be looking for?
Well, one thing is, like, look at how the kid's being shown. Do they seem genuinely happy? Are they into it? Or does it feel like fake, scripted?
Yeah.
Like, are they allowed to just be kids?
Yeah.
Or are they always being pushed to perform?
I see. Yeah. So it's about looking past the surface, really trying to see if the kid's okay.
Right. And also think about the whole point of the channel. What's it really about?
Okay.
Is it entertaining, educational, or is it just like one big ad after another?
I hadn't thought about that much before.
Yeah, how many sponsorships are there? How much product placement? That can be a big warning sign.
Right.
If it's all about selling stuff, can they really be putting the kid first?
I guess not. So we need to be aware, ask questions.
Yeah.
But what if something feels wrong? Like, what can I actually do about it?
Well, a few things. You can leave a comment,
Hmm.
say you're concerned, or message the channel directly.
Uh-huh.
You could report it to the platform, especially if you think they're breaking the rules, their terms of service.
Yeah, right. And I guess there's always unsubscribing or unfollowing if it's like on Instagram or whatever.
Exactly. You got to do what feels right, what aligns with your values. If something's off, don't be afraid to say something or just walk away.
Yeah, that's powerful. We have more power than we think, huh? As viewers, I mean.
We do.
Hmm.
If we're all smarter about this stuff, more informed, we can actually make the internet safer for kids. For everyone, really.
I like that. This has been a really interesting conversation. I've learned a lot. Never really thought about the whole kid influencer thing this way before.
It's been great diving into this with you. I hope everyone listening got something out of it too.
Me too. And hey, to everyone out there, keep thinking about this stuff. Do your own research. Talk to your friends and family about it.
Yeah.
But most importantly, think about your choices, what you watch, what you support online.
Absolutely.
These kids, their well-being, it might depend on us being more aware.
It's up to all of us to build a digital world where kids are safe and they have a voice,
Yeah.
where they can actually thrive.
That's a great thought. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, stay curious and don't stop questioning.